I'll tell you guys some shit that's gotten me in trouble. I've gotten in trouble. I've been canceled on the internet. The last time I got canceled on the internet was I called some bitch fat and she acted like it was the first time she ever fucking heard it before. That was fucking annoying. It was like, bitch, you knew you were fat when this fucking argument started. You should have known I was gonna call you a fat bitch. You should have been waiting your whole life for me to call you a fat bitch. You should have known I was going to call you a fat bitch just like I knew you were going to call me a faggot, and guess what? We're both right. So how about we both go put something in our mouths we shouldn't and forget all about this? And I said that at South by Southwest, and a woman stood up, and she was like, eating disorders are a thing. And at first I couldn't hear her because I was so surprised she actually stood up. And I was like, excuse me? And she was like, eating disorders are a thing. And I was like, oh, I know that. Now shove your fingers down your throat and occupy your mouth that way so I don't have to fucking listen to you. And how do you have an eating disorder and a muffin top? Bitch, you can't even fucking hate yourself, right? And for anybody that thinks that I'm getting a little too negative, I want you to know that I also bring good news. No matter what anybody tells you, I want everybody in this room, everybody that can hear my voice to know that no matter what anybody says to you, suicide is still an option. Your friends will try to talk you out of it, but they're fucking haters. You know you better than they do. If it's time to go, it's time to fucking go. If you're miserable, there's a good chance you're making everybody around you miserable too. Get to the top of a really high building, jump the fuck off, and a decision has been made. And nobody approached me after the show like, I attempted. You either did it or you didn't. If you were good at anything, we wouldn't be having this fucking conversation right now. And I know I joked about the trans community, but I want you to know if there's any trans people in the room, I want you to know that you're welcome to anywhere I'm at, but do me a favor and shut the fuck up. Nobody cares. Be a man, be a woman, be quiet. That's what I need from the trans community. And you understand, sometimes it's a you problem, not an us problem. You go to the mall, you're supposed to be a woman, they accidentally call you sir. Maybe you're not doing a good fucking job at it. Higher heels, longer lashes, I don't know what you need, bitch, but fucking work on it. It is 8 a.m. and you've got a 5 o'clock shadow. You're confusing people right now. And stop complaining about not being allowed into the women's bathroom. You've got a mustache and a crooked wig. The women are afraid of you. Bitch, I'm afraid of you right now. Not only do I think you don't belong in the women's bathroom, I don't think you belong in any bathroom until you figure it out. If there's any trans people and you're offended, please go cry in the appropriate bathroom. Yeah, and I am sick of everybody because they're always complaining, you know. Everybody's always fucking complaining right now. And I, like I said, don't care about any of it. My life is good. I don't know why people don't like you. Figure that out. Yeah, that's meant for a therapist, not for Facebook. I don't know where people got this idea that we're all supposed to just fucking care. I don't care about anybody's fucking problems. I barely care about my fucking problems. It's true, I just don't have time for any of it, you know? And so when people are complaining at me, I'm always like, yeah, I wish I could pretend to care, but I got a lot of things to do today. You know, sometimes fat people get mad at me because of the joke I did about that fat bitch, and it's like, well, you decide what you are. I don't decide that. It's true, you know what I mean? I know bitches that people think are fat, but they identify as thick, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess you ain't fat then, right? I don't care. I just don't, you know what I mean? Like, I've been too many places now to really give a fuck about anybody's feelings. You know, because I've seen people with real fucking problems, you know, like, I've been to China several times. There's a lot of poverty in China, you know, and they used to fly me out there once a year to perform in China. And most comedians, when they say they perform in China, they're talking about Shanghai or Beijing or both. That's like the extent of most comics going to China. But with me, because anybody that knows me from the comedy world knows I'll do anything, they'll book me all over China. Because if half or more of the audience doesn't speak English, as long as my money doesn't change, I don't give a fuck. If nobody laughs, I call it a TED Talk, I move on. Don't care. Yeah, but one thing I don't think white people do that people of color do is when we're in other countries, we look for our own people. And I'll tell you, of all the cities I've been to in China, I have seen no Mexicans in China. No Mexicans in China, which tells you one thing. The wall really does work. I asked every single show, I'm like, any Mexicans? No Mexicans. Any Mexicans? No Mexicans. Your last show, any Mexicans? Still no Mexicans. Finally, I'm like, who does your guys' dishes? And they look kind of uncomfortable, but I don't know if they were really uncomfortable or if they were just like, who does do our dishes? That's a joke I've had other Mexicans get mad at me for because they say I'm perpetuating stereotypes about Mexicans, but there are certain jobs we have been known for doing in this country. Dishwashing, housekeeping, landscaping, these are some of those jobs. And to me, not only is that not insulting, it actually makes perfect sense if you think about the history of this country. I mean, after we saw the black people get turned into slaves and Native Americans get put on reservations, the Mexicans were like, just look like you're cleaning. Maybe if we look busy, they won't mess with us. So I don't think anybody should get offended by that joke because to me that joke is just about the fact that Mexicans have a knack for figuring out what they're good at and charging money for it. Just like white people have a knack for figuring out what they're not good at and paying money for it. Like there's just certain things white people aren't good at, you know, like cooking, cleaning, watching your own kids. Don't get mad, white people. It's called an Amber Alert for a fucking reason. Amber's always missing. She's always in a different car. When's the last time you heard of a Maria Alert? That's right, there is no Maria Alert. Because we all know where Maria is. She's at home. She's pregnant, but she's at home. Almost time for me to get out of here. Any questions? I appreciate it. I'm not good at roasting because I accidentally hurt people's feelings. I have a knack for calling out things that people didn't even know were wrong with them. Well, it's my mom's fault, honestly. Because my mom raised me, like, not to judge people by what they look like, you know, and not to, like, really notice, like, you know, any kind of handicaps or defects. And so as a consequence, as soon as I meet someone, I notice everything that's wrong with them, so I know everything I'm not supposed to point out. And so then when somebody pisses me off, I'll just unleash it on them. I'm like, oh, you didn't know you had a bald spot in the back? Okay. Well, I guess that's news for you. You're welcome. Get Rogaine. What's up?
Do you have any jokes that you tell your dogs on a regular basis, like silly things that they do, and you call them out on it?
No, I constantly tell the puppy, Lyndon, that he's going to the fucking pound, but that's not a joke. That little asshole keeps pissing on my floor for no fucking reason. Yeah, that fucking little asshole is going. I don't think I'll get rid of him, but I have a friend that really wants him. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, you could take him. He's very cute. He's a Chihuahua. Well, nasty in what way? Who's asking? Oh, the camera guy. Okay. You're cute. We can make one. Yeah, no, I've done a lot of nasty shit, to tell you the truth. I was a whore for a long time. Yeah, and not like, oh, just an expression. I was an actual whore. And yeah, I made a lot of money doing that. I did. You know, like the other night, there was this old man in the front row at Vulcan, and we were like, I was talking about something, and then he said something, and then I was like, are you straight? And he said, no. And I was like, I kind of figured that. You look like the men that used to pay me to fuck them. And it turned out he was there with his nephew. Yeah, and I told him that his nephew could hold the camera. But yeah, that's how you access the family discount. But yeah, what's it called? I like for a while I did a lot of meth too, but not in the gross way. Well, like sometimes people try to relate to me on drug stories, and I can't really relate because my best friends were dealers, and so sometimes people will be like, I spent all my money on meth, and I'm like, did you have a bad personality? Because you're not supposed to pay for drugs. I mean, what are you going to tell me next? You buy your own drinks? You did your own homework in high school? How sad is your life?